Hi, it's Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for you. Let's talk about the brand new 4K edition of Blazing Saddles. Always been a Mel Brooks fan. This was not always my favorite movie. I actually like a couple others better. But rewatching it now and learning about the film, what a game changer this was. The short version is, if you love Blazing Saddles, this is the best it's ever looked or sounded. It's got a full 4K restoration that looks fantastic. You know, he was trying to make a real Western. I mean, it was a comedy, but they used the same cinematography and stuff that a lot of great Westerns. There's a lot of practical footage and a lot of desert scenes that are just incredible. Well lit, beautifully shot. It's a really good-looking movie for a comedy. Soundtrack, Dolby Atmos, shocking. The fart scene around the campfire, unfortunately, missed opportunity. They could have made it all around you in the surround sound. It's kind of all front loaded, but it is a pretty good Dolby Atmos mix. All in all, I was blown away by how good the movie sounds. When it first starts, the opening Warner Brothers music and stuff, the clarity is just wow. It just kind of wows you. They really did a great job. People are complaining about the Steelbook. I got the Steelbook. Nobody likes the artwork on the regular edition or the Steelbook. Steelbook basically has a flaming saddle just hovering in the air with Blazing Saddles, a Mel Brooks film on the front. I don't really comment on how good or bad Steelbooks look, but this one's just an okay Steelbook. Nice picture on the inside of the entire cast. So that was really cool. And on the back, there's a classic scene of, well, you need to see the back. You have to see. I don't want to give spoilers if you've never seen this movie. Now, Blazing Saddles came out in 1974. You may not remember this. Mel Brooks released two movies in 1974, Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein, both instant classics. He tried to make a Western comedy, knocked it out of the park. He tried to make a black and white horror comedy, knocked it out of the park. Both movies stand the test of time. Now, I hope we get a 4K version of Young Frankenstein. That would be awesome. I heard it's in the works, but I know no details. But now that we have Blazing Saddles, we can see what can be done. And the amount of extras, there's some good stuff on there. A lot of extras are featured on the Blu-ray disc. Warner Brothers has only put one disc in. There's no Blu-ray. So if you're looking for that, you'll have to go get the old one. I did not put my old Blu-ray in to compare, but I got to tell you, this is the best the movie's ever looked and sounded. It really is amazing. And how does the movie hold up? Well, the movie's 50 years old now. And you would think that the comedy wouldn't hold up very well, but there were 5 or 6 writers on the movie, including Richard Pryor, and it holds up. There's some really funny stuff. There was also a whole bunch of still cringy stuff. This was a 70s... If you watch the extras, this movie broke the mold on how comedies were made. Comedies were not edgy before this. Hollywood was afraid to go this far with things. But Mel Brooks, he thought this is what people wanted to see. He thought this would make people laugh. So here's a couple things about the movie, looking back at it now. The movie went on to make $100 million in 1974 money. I don't know that any movie at that time had made that much money, especially a comedy. Not only that, they counted ticket sales. In 1974, 64 million people went to see that movie. 64 million people saw it in the theater. It was a game changer in many, many ways. It basically made Mel Brooks, set him for life. He could make whatever he wants after this, and he continued to make some great movies. I do like Young Frankenstein better. I think it's a funnier, better, well-made movie, but rewatching Blazing Saddles now, I was shocked at how well it really is made. And I also like History of the World Part 1. I think that's one of his more silly movies, but also one of my favorite Mel Brooks movies. Men in Tights, not so bad either. Anyway, he has quite a few, but this was the one. He had done some TV. He had done some other stuff. He kind of invented some things to make this movie. The cast is pretty incredible all the way around, that they get through some of the scenes without losing it, and some of the things that are said. Like I said, for 2024, there's still some cringy stuff that you might not want to kid. I mean, it is rated R, but, you know, there's some stuff in there that it's still just as cringy as it was back then. You know what I'm talking about. Some of the racial stuff, the stereotypical stuff, they really pulled no punches on that, and that's why the movie holds up for the most part. A lot of it comes across as quaint as well. I think rewatching Young Frankenstein will probably give me a better judge of which movie kind of holds up better over time. But this was the first time I had watched Blazing Saddles in decades, and 90 minutes, laughed out loud a few times, chuckled quite a bit, and was amazed at how it looked, how it sounded, and how great everybody was in it. It's a no-brainer to pick it up if this is one of your favorite movies. If it's not and you've never seen it, you might want to watch it on streaming before you jump into this. It's kind of like Sausage Party. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. You're not going to be, and so if you want to see a Western that has a lot of racial and stereotypical humor in it, it might be your favorite cup of tea. It may not, but it is what it is, and it did set a tone. It did change things in Hollywood, and we can thank it for a lot of the comedies that we have today. Now, it's funny that Hollywood's not making as many comedies these days. We're usually relying on superhero movies for our comedy for the most part. But this was back in a time where comedies were usually safe, and Mel Brooks kind of went, you know what, we're not going to be safe at all. And it worked. And it stood the test of time. And to this day, it's, got a brand new 4K release this week. It looks great. It sounds great with a Dolby Atmos mix. They spent some time on it. It's a classic film. Again, not my favorite Mel Brooks movie, but definitely one of the top 3. Yeah, really well made, really well done, still funny. Check it out on 4K. It looks amazing. More reviews are on the way. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to a podcast. Have a spectacular one.